I would now like to call up Gila Oshrat, President of Wizo Israel, to give her report. Please, Gila, if you could come to the stage.
So, distinguished guests, and you have all the list here. Please, sorry, the list. Nice. So I'll not repeat all the names, but I would like to say good morning to all of you. I would like to welcome you all to Israel and to the EGM. I am both excited and delighted to be here with you today. And I want to start with a personal comment. 30 days ago, I lost my dear mother, Sonia Gross, Zichrona Livracha. I was really touched by the hugs you sent in the letters I received from many federations. Thank you. For me, it was another opportunity to feel Four years ago, I was elected to lead the Israeli Federation. With huge excitement and no little trepidation of the important mission, together with the fellow chairwomen of Wizo Israel, all motivated, optimistic, and determined to face the upcoming challenges. These were 4 years where I saw the most beautiful parts of Israel, but also the areas where we're sore and in need. In 50 Wizo centers across Israel, we met volunteers with the biggest heart. We celebrated in bar and bat mitzvah celebrations. We were welcomed with open arms by women who had received help from Wizo. We prepared ourselves for the municipal and national elections. We combated domestic violence. We promoted legislation. We painfully bade our farewells to Chaverot who left us, and we cried for the loss of victims of terror, violence, and war. The Israeli reality has us shifting from tears of excitement and joy to tears of distress, sorrow, and pain, which forces us, Wizo, to be set to provide responses to all the challenges that society places at our doorstep. So what we did do? The year 2011. This year will be remembered in Israeli society as the year Gilad Shalit was released. There was not a dry eye in the country. As an enlightened society, we were pained that a president of the state of Israel was found guilty of rape. And the largest social protest the country has ever seen took place. A protest which changed the social agenda and put an end to the apathy which plagued society. The people of Israel demanded a change priorities. Am Israel demands social justice. Social justice means maintaining equality and providing equal opportunities to everybody. This harks me back to the book of Genesis, which says, "Vayivra Elokim et ha'adam b'tzelmo, בצלם אלוקים ברא אותו, זכר ונקבה ברא אותם." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. שקפים בבקשה. The seeds for social justice were planted by our founding mothers, Rebecca Ziv, Vera Weitzman, and their friends 95 years ago in England, and for 95 years, we have been continuing in their footsteps, operating to create equal opportunities for people, men and women, secular and religious, olim and veteran citizens, etc. In the Israeli Declaration of Independence, which was signed by the late Rachel Kagan, former chairperson of Wizo Israel, who was also represented Wizo in the Knesset, states that the state of Israel will uphold the full social and political equality of all its citizens without distinctions of race, creed, or sex. But the reality in Israel dictates another national agenda. In the state of Israel, which is troubled daily by security problems and economic hardships, which dictate the agenda, social issues are pushed to the sidelines. Wizo Israel, which is committed to social and gender equality, consistently dedicates its efforts to obtain social justice. In 2011, women were further excluded from public spaces, women forced to sit in the back of buses, to walk on separate sidewalks, and another prohibitions are placed, allowing an extreme minority group's value to be enforced on the entire society. This is a gross violation of human rights. We cannot allow it, and it is our duty to ensure a respectful and dignified Israel. Wizo Haverot from across the country came together to voice their protest, marching in the streets of Tel Aviv. We also have our voice heard in the Knesset because we believe that in a democratic society, the greatest and more important challenge of the legislature is to build the foundation of an egalitarian society as required by the Declaration of Independence. We increase our parliamentary activities, participate in various Knesset committees, submit position papers, and promote new laws. One of the laws in which we were involved was the amendment to the law of ensuring income, according to which women who stay in shelters for battered women would be eligible for ensured income. Another law was the amendment to the law of public debate of violent crimes, according to which testimonies of families suffering from violence would be given behind closed doors. And my dear Haverot, you have to know that both laws are important steps in combating violence. The year 2012. One of the events of 2012 was the Supreme Court's cancellation of Tal law, which allowed men who study in yeshivas to defer their army service. And again, the social protest raised its head once more with the tragic event which was broadcast live. An Israeli citizen set himself on fire during a protest and he died from his injuries. The event shocked us all. Rockets continue to rain on citizens of the South, and the situation deteriorates leads to the Operation Pillar of Defense. Around 1 million citizens were confined to their homes, experiencing many hours of fear and anxiety. The fighting in the South intended to ensure that the citizens of Israel can live safely. But still, on days when the cannons are not roaring, Israel has population living at risk and under a reality of terror and violence every day. 200,000 battered women and 500,000 children living under the shadow of violence. Some data points to even higher number, and while I'm speaking here, 2 women were murdered only this week. But one thing is clear. Behind these numbers, which I present every year, there is an ocean of depth pain, personal heartbreaking stories, entire lives of women and children that are torn to shreds. Prevention of domestic violence and treating its victims continue to be at the core of our activities. In the shelters for battered women and in the centers for the prevention of violence, we provide safety and support and help these women break out of the cycle of violence. But in 2012, we add another echelon to our activities, expanding our treatment of men. We enlarge the target population and turn directly to those who instigate violence, calling upon violent men who we demand that they assume full responsibility for treating themselves for their benefit and for the benefit of their families through our hotline for men. We also operate among the younger generation. We believe that everything begins with education. We heard it also in the morning. The Pinuk program, created by Wizo Israel, operates in elementary schools with the purpose of reducing violence and improving the climate in schools. The program's volunteers are integrated into school and work with children who suffer from emotional deficiencies and other behavioral problems. Demand for the program has increased from year to year. To date, we have helped more than 3,000 children. On the other side of the spectrum, there is a population of seniors whose number in society is increasing. Even in this population, we have seen victims of abuse and neglect. In order to provide a response to this problem, we launched the longevity program aimed at preventing abuse and neglect of seniors by making accessible key information such as rights. The program, supported by Wizo Switzerland, included workshops and lectures for the elderly in 10 Wizo centers. Leading the fight against violence, we held mass rallies in Tel Aviv, attended by Knesset members and ministers, held a seminar of enforcement of protection orders. We launched a process of establishing a court on violence and initiated a Knesset debate on the prevention of violence and bringing violent men to treatment. And the work is still going on. The year 2013. In 2013, Israel celebrates 65 years and holds national elections. The election campaigns bring a breeze of fresh air and omen of changes to Israel democracy. A new generation, young and committed, which bears the message of new practices and of changing priorities, was elected. The number of women in the Israel parliament increased that year significantly. 27 women were elected as members of the Knesset, but yet they account for only 22% of all Knesset members, less than a quarter, which obliges us to continue to work on raising awareness of incorporating women into the political arena and preparing them for the past that was not paid for them. During the election campaign, we worked to increase women's representation in the Knesset. We hold a panel which calls upon all the contending parties, demanding that whoever is tasked with compiling the new government to lead a new political culture which ensures equal representation of at least 40% for each gender in government and ministerial committees. Unfortunately, reality shows us that the status quo is perpetuated, and there is still a long way ahead until women are adequately represented in the focal points of power and influence and decision-making in Israel society. Adequate representation for women and men is a social and national challenge, and we will continue to work to this end. The state of Israel is still rated low among the OECD countries in regard to the percentage of women who participate in determining and shaping policy. Therefore, Wizo Israel created an initiative with the US Embassy, a new social order program, a unique women's leadership program which encourages and trains women to integrate in public positions. Women aged 28 to 60 were selected from all walks of life and from a variety of professions. The program is operating in Wizo centers across the country, and we have already held 9 courses with over 200 women participating. We recently opened 4 courses in Kiryat Shmona in the north, Nes Ziona in the middle, Jerusalem, the capital, and in Eilat in the south. So we spread it all over the country. The year 2014. 2014 was a turbulent year. In the spring, ISIS appeared. a Muslim organization which breaks records on cruelty and threatens the stability of the region and the world. In the summer, Reuven Rivlin was elected the 10th president of the State of Israel. And we anxiously followed Operation Brothers Keepers and were shocked by the abduction and murder of 3 innocent young boys. The escalation leads to the Operation Protective Age, which disrupts the entire country. We lost some 70 of our finest children, many others were injured, and many bereaved families were left without a father, without a husband, brother, or son. With the citizens of Israel living under the threat of the rocket barrages, undergoing many hours of anxiety, Wizo was committed to help them. You know, every day of the year, Wizo is a fighting brigade at the forefront of social welfare in Israel. And during an emergency time, when the social fronts meet with the military front, we are there, joining together in full force to assist in the national mission. Wizo opened the youth villages. Many branches of Wizo mobilize and help, collecting clothes, food, and other items transferred to the soldiers, and toward the end of the war, thanks to the generous donation of Honorary President Raya Yaglom and the fundraising by the branches, we distribute to children of Southern communities hundreds of bags of coupons for the purchase of equipment for school. And again, we proved that in times of war, as in time of peace, Wizo constitutes an important pillar in the resilience of Israeli society. And when the war is over and routine returns, many families pay personal prices, whether in regards to domestic issues or employment. The Wizo Legal Advice Bureaus work to raise awareness of women to existence of legislation that protects their rights and to enforce existing legislation. The Legal Bureau operates in 30 Wizo centers from Tzfat in the north to Eilat in the south. The bureaus are operated by 300 professionals who volunteers, lawyers, mediators, and family therapists, alongside paraprofessional volunteers who provide a sympathetic ear and a shoulder to lean on. We handle about 1,500 calls annually. With the enactment of the law regulating litigation in family disputes, mediation becomes an obligatory station in family disputes. Wizo, therefore, expands the Legal Bureau to include mediation services and build a professional platform for resolving family disputes and conflicts in general. We believe that this channel will increase public awareness to the great value inherent in the resolution of disputes in alternative ways, including mediation as a way of life to create more tolerant and less violent society. Via a hotline on legal information and an online forum, we address 2,500 women each year on the subject of women's rights at work, especially in matters of employment harassment, sexual harassment, and dismissal during pregnancy or fertility treatments, and it is against the law. Helping women enter to the workplace is both a social and national economic interest. Professor Trachtenberg mentioned this morning that the women in Israel are a major in Israeli society, in the workforce in Israeli society. But we have to remember, their salary are the less salary. They are in the low position. And this is, I think, also, I didn't write it, but it's also our duty to take care for it. Helping women enter the workplace in both a social and national economic interest. Increased number of women working contributes to increased national output and reduces the cycle of welfare recipients. Integration of women in the workforce is also of great importance to achieving economic independence, the realization of individual potential, and increasing their chances to escape poverty. So employment is a tool for creating a better future for women. We continue their cooperation with Microsoft and the Employment Service in the UP program, which helps women obtain gainful employment. The program provides practical tools for women to go to work and also empowers them and teaches them how to achieve personal growth. Each year, about 78 courses were held in Wizo centers across the country, training 1,200 women per year. Also, in 24 single-parents families hubs, we work with over 70 groups, encountering women who require tools and skills for integration into the workplace. The children of working women who also need support frameworks that enable these women to go to work. 2,000 children spend their afternoons in Wizo after-school care centers in Tel Aviv and Givatayim, which are recognized and supervised by the Ministry of Economy. We arrived at the year 2015. And again, we face elections. The focus of discourse for these elections are social issues and the average Israeli family, which cannot make ends meet. Parties appear, one after another, addressing the middle class and the lower classes, claiming that they are the truly most socially sensitive. But those experienced among us already know that politicians talk, and when they talk about social action, someone must take responsibility and do it, and that someone is us, Wizo. Our social work is a huge value to the Israeli public and to the Israeli society's national resilience. But naturally, our activity focuses on one person's need. It can be an elderly person or a new immigrant, a battered woman, a single mother, a girl or a boy. Some 4,000 children are treated in projects including TAP centers, emergency centers, workshop for children of divorced parents, bar and bat mitzvah events, and other projects in which the volunteers take part. The list of activities is just a list, but behind it, and believe me, there are many names and faces, fears and dreams, hopes and smiles, which for them cannot always be taken for granted. At the Adi Center in Be'er Sheva, a day center for girls at high risk, we continue to light a small candle of hope for girls. In Wizo centers, we operate the Batim Chamim, warm homes, and other special programs such as Otzma Tzehira, Young Empowerment, today we call it Pninim. All are frameworks which constitute a bridge of home for integration into normative society for these girls. In addition to caring for disadvantaged girls, we educate hundreds of girls every year in leadership and gender equality through the YAS Leadership Program and in the Joint Technion Wizo program, which promotes girls in technological subjects. My dear friends, while making this report to the conference, I had a hard time deciding what to include and what to exclude. Every area we touched in these 4 years was important. Every activity, a beam of hope for a better future for a child, a girl, and a woman, as well as for the society as a whole. It is hard to summarize 4 years of extensive practice in 20 minutes. The items I omitted you can read in the report, and you can ask me later, I'm here. But one thing is clear. All this could not exist without the branches and the volunteers. The center's branches are the power and the strength of Wizo Israel. Wizo volunteers are the backbone for all the activities. Upon taking the job 4 years ago, I announced policy of facing the centers עם הפנים לסניפים, which we led as a board. One of the challenges we face is of expanding the circle of volunteers and building a new generation. As leaders, we have a responsibility to take care of the next generation and guarantee the survival of Wizo's future. And indeed, the human landscape is changing and expanding. Over 6,000 new members joined Wizo Israel during the past 4 years. Following the systematic process, we are leading the Wizo Center's management features, senior military officials, schools principals, lawyers, etc. The integration process is accompanied by a training and support network that will ensure their success. Alongside developing the human resource, we are stepping up efforts in fundraising and increasing revenues from operations. The fundraising target of Israeli Federation rises every year, and over the past 4 years, we have surpassed 50 million shekels raised through the shops, events, gala dinners, retail cashier fundraising, and other initiatives. And allow me, at this moment, to salute to our volunteers who participate in the efforts to raise these funds. My dear חברות, after 4 years of activities of loving, giving, dedication, and commitment to you and to the society, I'm still not used to it. I'm still excited. Excited at a child's tear, excited by the smile of a girl, excited from a hug of a woman that Wizo has given her a better chance of life and who has made the most of this chance. But I know that the work is not over. True, we have seen successes, there have been achievements, but the journey is still long and we cannot rest on our laurels. We have many challenges ahead, and I intend to continue to lead this journey. At the EGM today, we are concluding a period in which we have seen once again that the activity of Wizo Israel on behalf of disadvantaged group, the activity for advancements of women in society, and the struggle to achieve social and gender equality is an important element in creating national resilience. And my dear חברות, all over the globe and Israel, you are our partners in creating this, an inseparable part of it. And for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. From this stage, I really salute you. I would like to express to each and every one of you my great appreciation for the sacred work you are doing, work whose fingerprints will remain forever engraved in the heart of society. Michelle Obama said, "Success is not about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives." I would like to thank you for the trust you gave me during the entire period. But there is no conductor without an orchestra. The actions were not completed by myself. I would like to thank my friends who accompanied me these past 4 years, the Israel Executive, Nili Feller, Eti Borkin, Erela Meiri, Mali Arel, Nina Shapira, and Ricky Caldes. Please stand up. I know that you are here in the wall, spreading in the wall. Thanks for your cooperation and the trust you had in me to lead the way. Thank you, my חברות on the executive of World Wizo, Honorary President Helena Gralazer, President Tova Bendov, Chairwoman of the executive, Professor Rivka Lazovsky, Treasurer Atara Ilani, and the entire executive. Thanks for your cooperation and support. Thank you, World Wizo CEO Igal Dekel. Thank you to all the employees and staff of World Wizo and Wizo Israel for daily work and for accompanying us in this important calling. And a special and personal thanks to my loyal staff, Sarit Arbel and Sival Yosef. And the last but not least, I wish to salute you again, our sisters from around the globe, and thank you for the support, contribution, and for being partners. Without you, we could not continue our sacred work. But with you, Wizo היא עובדה שאפשר. Wizo is a fact. And finally, sometimes when we experience nature, we are thrilled by the beauty of the waterfalls, and we learn that the force and the power of the waterfalls is in many small droplets working together. Think about it. Every one of us is a small drop in the cascade, but only by working together, we can lead this great movement which will continue to create a better and more equal Israeli society. Thank you very much.